All right, so I'm always into something. So today we're going to be working on a Pioneer 700. I've got a broken CV on the left front axle, and we'll just give you a little look here, see just what we've got going on. If you look, you can see that it's moving right there and completely spinning right there, not grabbing hold. So we've got a replacement for that today, and we'll tear into this thing and try to get this filmed for you. First things first, we got it jacked up. We're gonna get the tire off real quick and we'll get into this thing. Okay, so we'll come over here. We'll have to get the caliper off. We're gonna take this caliper cover off first, get to the caliper, disconnect it so we can get in there. Let me get some tools and get going on this. Okay, 10 millimeters king. So let's start with this first. And then this is 12. You gotta watch, you gotta back this nut. I'll find out what size wrench it is. I think it's something weird. But that nut will keep spinning if you don't back that. You can see I'm just doing it with my fingers. But when I tighten this back up, gonna have to do a little bit more than that. Oh, see, that's spinning. All right. I'm gonna go get a wrench for that. Okay, so gonna put this wrench on the backer side of that. And there it goes. These are on super tight. Okay. There's a little. Let's take this off. Nope. All right. And okay, so I had to go get a bungee cord. You just want to strap this up and get that hanging so you're not damaging your brake lines. The next thing we got to do, we're going to take the nut off of the upper ball joint. There's a crown nut there. There's also a crown nut here on the axle. And I think we're going to pop this loose first. What I've done ahead of time is I've taken these little pins out, these cotter pins, because they just take a long time. There's really nothing to them. Sometimes they're a pain in the butt. So rather than embarrassing myself, I just went ahead and took those out early. So let's go ahead and pop this axle nut loose. This obviously makes it a lot easier with an impact. Not too bad. And then I broke this one loose a little bit in here, but this is a 17 millimeter. And there's left on it. Not quite on the go. It's a little hard with that rubber boot. Oh, turn that around. Come on. That's so close. There we go. Okay. Just move this back around here a little bit. All right. Let's see if we can get this puppy done. There it goes. Okay. Let's just see how much of this I gotta take loose. I don't know, I may have to take this shock off. No, all right, so there's that. Okay, let's come back around here. All right, so hopefully this axle will just pull out of here. They say this is mangled. Definitely don't want to pull from here. You want to get up in here. You want to get this as straight as possible. And beautiful. So there we go. A little bit of trash in there. Might clean that bearing just a little bit. And let's open the other one up and see how they compare out. Make sure we got the right one. All right, so this is just a little side-by-side. This is an Eastlake axle, ordered off Amazon. I've replaced this axle once before. I don't know why this particular one goes fit. This is a 2016. I've had it since new, and I don't blow through axles. It's not built big, so it does well, but I was pulling somebody out in reverse, had my steering wheel a little cocked, and that's all it took, which is really stupid because I've got a 5,500 pound winch that I should have been using. So anyway, that's the new one. It lines up, looks good. So we're gonna start putting this thing back on. Okay, I did clean around that bushing in there on the differential, just so that I don't get any dirt or anything in there. But let's see how this goes back in. Alright, that's not in. Make sure she gets lined up right. There it goes. Alright. Alright, it's a little better angle. Also, I rotated my wheels, my steering all the way to the right. That gives us a little more play out here. And let's see if we can get her to go now. I did want to grease that. Alright, sorry. I wanted to grease these splines, so I just put some marine bearing grease, wheel bearing grease on it, just so it doesn't stick later on if we got to do this again. And there, it lines right up. Okay. Now just to get this thing back on this. Oops. Let me turn the wheel back. And there we go. Okay. There's that. All right, let me go ahead and tighten these up. Get my cotter pins back in. I'll be right back. So I went ahead and got these nuts all tightened up. I just wanted to see if I could get down here and kind of show you. There's the crown nut there with the cotter pin in it. Don't forget there's a washer that goes on top of that nut. And then back around here, the axle nut. And again, I'm using an impact. I'm just getting it good and tight. I'm sure there's a torque to it, but making sure that doesn't move. You got to line your holes up so that pin will go back through there. Anytime you're doing this, it's preferred to install a new one, but you can get the other ones in there. But I'm telling you, the hardest part of this job was just getting those cotter pins in and out. Just takes some time. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna get the brake caliper and the cover back installed and put the tire on this thing and call this done. Okay. So we got the pads. Just put the pads back on first. They're all set. Hopefully I don't have to compress this. And I don't. All right. Okay, get this one. Okay, cover. Oops. Alright, sorry, I got a phone call. So I got the cover back on, caliper back on. I had also taken this off so that I could mount the caliper away, got the bracket back on. So yeah, we're just ready to put the front tire on, and this is all set. Alright, tires back on, job's complete. So just in time, it's getting hot. So the axle's nice and solid, no movement in the CV. That looks good in there. So I've heard good things about Eastlake. This may be my first axle, but some friends recommended it, and so that's what I went with. And you can just see that thing's just ridiculously loose. But luckily I was able to put it in two-wheel drive, and we rode, another 10 miles that day probably. So luckily it didn't, send us back to the camp. But yeah, it was nice, nice and easy, not too bad to change. And she's ready for the woods again. So thanks for watching, and look back, because we're always into something.